20-year-old Iranian woman was sentenced this week for removing her hijab in public. Saba Kord Afshari was handed a 24-year term by Tehran's Revolutionary Court. She was taking part in the White Wednesdays campaign, which consists of Iranian women who are protesting for their rights in the Islamic Republic. They do so, in part, by removing their compulsory headwear to reveal their hair in public. Our next guest has been following Saba's story right from the beginning. Masih Alinejad is an Iranian activist who lives in the United States, and she started the White Wednesdays campaign. That's where Iranian women, as I just mentioned, wear white headscarves or clothing in protest, and they also remove their hijabs in public. She joins us this morning from Chicago. Masih, very good to speak with you. Let's begin with getting your reaction and the reaction in Iran to Saba's arrest.
The prison sentence was very, very harsh and heartbreaking. From the beginning, I was very shocked when I heard that just removing hijab can cause a 20-year-old woman to 15-year prison, and protesting against the regime altogether sentenced her for 24 years prison. It broke my heart. So I was very, very upset that how can I help her? But the reaction was amazing. A lot of women started to send videos and be her voices, including her mother, Rahela Ahmadi. She just used her camera and she wore a white headscarf. She just talked to the rest of the world, to the celebrities, to journalists, to Muslim communities, to the women around the world. And she was saying that removing hijab, caused my daughter to be in prison, but there are a lot of celebrities who wore hijab, they travel around, they vote for the president of Iran, and they keep silent. She asked the rest of the world to be her daughter's voice.
Has the mother received any backlash, any support as a result of her speaking up?
To be honest, her mother actually got arrested before, Saba has been sentenced to 24 years prison, because Saba was under pressure to do false confession against White Wednesdays. They asked Saba to say death to Masih Alinejad, death to White Wednesdays, and Saba sat in front of the camera and she said death to dictators. So this is what actually Amnesty International, had an investigation, and they found out that Saba was in solitary confinement for 11 days and two periods, not only once time, to do a false confession. She didn't. She refused, and that's why they arrested her mother for a short period to convince her to do a false confession against the movement. She didn't, so that's why she received a long sentence.
This is remarkable. I don't want people to miss what you just said, which is Saba was told to wish death to you and to the White Wednesdays campaign, and she refused to do that, and as we know, she's being punished in part because of that. But Saba's case is not alone, and as we've mentioned a few times, you started this White Wednesdays campaign to raise awareness for women, to raise the rights of women's issues and concerns within Iran. Does it still have the momentum it had a couple of years ago when it started?
That's a good question. There are right now another 10 women of White Wednesdays are in prison. Only in August, 6 women who protested against compulsory hijab has received altogether more than 100 years prison. That actually shows you this is the way that the government want to keep the whole society silent, but they were failed. Let me give you one example. The day when the head of the Iran Revolutionary Court announced that filming yourself and removing your hijab and sending the videos to Masih Alinejad can take you to prison, up to 10 years prison, I received a video from a woman who wore hijab, who sat in front of the camera, and she said, I choose to wear hijab, but I want to film myself and protest against these harsh imprisonment. So you see, the government want to keep us silent. The government arrested a daughter. Her mother became her voice and hold the flag. The government arrested 10 women. Now thousands of women actually protesting against compulsory hijab. This is actually failed. And I want to tell you that the only thing that it's very disappointed, it's the reaction of the Muslim communities around the world, the international communities around the world.
Why do you call it a failure, Masih? Just because we're running out of time, why do you describe the international reaction as a failure?
Where are the global feminist movement? There are 10 women in prison just because of removing this piece of cloth. They're fighting against one of the main pillars of the gender apartheid. Where are the feminist global movement? Why they don't say anything? Why they don't take action? Look, the seven countries, when they sit and talk about nuclear, they have to talk about human rights in Iran as well. These governments are taking their own people hostage, and they put them in prison just because of peacefully protesting against the Islamic Republic. And the female politicians around the world, they go to my beautiful country and they wear this hijab like this. They wear it, but they keep silent. They don't even understand that removing this can cause the woman inside Iran in prison. So to me, this is hypocrisy. And I am very disappointed when I see the rest of the world, the media, the female politician, the global feminist movement keep silent about it. Okay. They allow the government to put more pressure on women inside Iran. My family were under pressure. My family came on the TV to disown me publicly. They threatened me to kill me here, but the rest of the world are keeping silent. The women inside Iran are the true leaders. They knew the risk. I asked Saba, if you send me a video, you're going to be in jail. She said, freedom is not free. That is why I'm disappointed about the reaction of the rest of the world.
Masih, we have to leave the conversation there. I want to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Masih Ali Nejad is an Iranian activist. She joined us this morning from Chicago.